Getting closer to each other is a woman's responsibility. Men don't understand anything about this. A woman should communicate this idea. She should teach a man to be closer. She should work on this, make enormous efforts in this direction, and believe in the relationship. If you don't believe in the relationship, he won't believe in it either. He doesn't understand that he needs to be closer, so he's fine with everything as it is. You take care of him, but he doesn't understand how to make you happy, and you should show him this. You should make him understand. For this, you need to establish dialogue, a kind conversation. But to establish dialogue, you need to accept the person first, and you haven't accepted him. You can't get closer to him, he hurts you. You don't want to get closer to him, you get offended by him. You need to overcome these offenses through prayer. People think that a person should bring happiness. When they don't bring happiness, disappointment follows. God brings happiness to a person, and people help us pass our exams. You expect happiness from him, but you should pray to God and achieve harmony with God, and then a person can bring you happiness if you are stronger than your fate. Right now you are weaker than your fate, and fate distances you from the man. It destroys your closeness. But you're confusing fate with this person, and he treats you well. You don't understand that you should rely on God to overcome fate. You rely on the person, trying to get him involved. But you need to connect with God, and then you will defeat your fate, and the person will be closer then. Your thinking is incorrect. You're relying on the wrong thing in life. There's no point in relying on people. No one here will help us in this world. Only God can help, and people can bring us happiness or suffering, depending on our behavior. We ourselves can make it so that a person will bring us happiness, but he won't do this on his own. Rather, he can do this if he also believes in God. But in your family, the situation is this. You should help him believe in God, not the other way around. This is what God wants from you, because he has no other chances to come to God only through you. God has given you this task.
Thank you so much.
I wish you happiness.
Hello, Dr. Torsunov. It's very nice to see you. I thank God that I listened to your lectures. Previously, I had to listen to you on YouTube, too. And I felt so warm in my soul, because I am also a medical professional and a former volunteer. I experienced clinical death. I worked in intensive care, in anesthesiology. And after my shift, I felt unwell. And my colleagues said, "We don't have space in our department. Go to surgery. They'll give you a kidney IV therapy there. Do everything necessary." They had just connected me to the machine and I blacked out. And I came to my senses in the operating room when they were running around my body saying, "That's it, the brain is gone, the brain is gone." Well, thank God, many years have passed since then, and I'm in Canada. Everything is good. But after that, I began my activity, to be Mother Teresa everywhere, both in relation to my family and in relation to people. I never take offense. I feel sorry for those who want to offend me. But it happened that my first marriage was intolerable because my husband did not allow me to go to church, did not allow me to pray. He didn't even accept our daughter. He hurt her and me.
You had such a marriage because in your past life you insulted religious people, acted against them. In this life, through this person, you received feedback from God.
And I just packed my things and left with nothing, leaving all my possessions. I don't regret it. God helped me with everything here. I work and got married and processed all my documents. But I'm alone with my husband. He's very good, but he became very ill. He had a donor kidney transplanted and has heart problems. Now I'm simply running out of strength. I want to help, but I see I'm not able to. God is always with me. I rejoice in each day. But I feel that I'm simply running out of energy. I want to ask, how can I recover? Before, I used to go out and talk to trees.
There's a reason why you're running out of energy. You've confused yourself with God.
Yes, you're right. I wanted to help everyone. I never thought about myself.
That's not the issue. A person is not a source of energy. Energy comes from above. If you consider yourself the source, then it all ends with your death. Because you are not the source, you are a transmitter, and you can transmit exactly as much as you are able to. But you want more than you can, and you think that you can help everyone, but you won't be able to help everyone.
Now I've already understood this.
But that's only one side of the coin, and the other side of the coin is human aging. We all age, and aging means that every day we need to make more effort so that the energy exchange in the body remains as it was before. Children simply receive energy from space because their bodies are very young. But with age, you need to make more effort to have energy. You lack the energy of the sun. This means that you need to fast so that this energy is pumped into the body. You also lack air energy. This means that you need to engage in prolonged continuous movement so that this energy is pumped into the body. There is no big deficiency in water energy, meaning you have enough water energy. Maybe you swim in a pool, I don't know. Well, maybe you just don't lose it significantly. You are a fairly calm person. Air energy suffers when a person exerts excessive willpower. Sun energy suffers when a person's optimism is depleted. When the situation is hopeless, optimism is depleted, the energy of the sun suffers. The energy of the sun is replenished through fasting and contact with the sun. There is little sun here, so only fasting remains. You're sensitive and vulnerable. Every woman has some sensitivity, but your threshold is not high enough for water energy to suffer. It suffers minimally, in your case. But this activity you speak about depletes air energy, and therefore you need prolonged, continuous movement outside to replenish it.
My pulse is already close to 200.
Pulse close to 200. That's a different situation. In the fourth energy layer, there are two blockages, a blockage of dynamic tension, or lack of air energy, and a blockage of negative attitude, or lack of the energy of the sun. The fourth energy layer is connected with mood. That means that mood severely suffers. You need at least 3 hours and 20 minutes of walking once every 5 to 6 days. Better yet, 4 hours, because the fourth layer gets cleansed if you walk for 3 hours and 20 minutes. And you need to practice water fasting for 2 days, once every 3 weeks, to cleanse the blockage associated with the lack of the energy of the sun in the fourth layer. And only after 4 or 5 months will your heart rhythm begin to heal, because the subtle energy body will recover enough to heal it. Right now, there's not enough energy in the subtle energy body for the heart.
Can I show you a photo of a person? Water is coming from his skin. I wanted to know about the condition of his body and the cause.
This person is living out the end of their life. You cannot live their life for them.
I'm wondering, what's the cause of this?
The cause is your deep relationship with God. Please sit down. You are a very good, kind, and compassionate person, but you don't understand how help works. There are 2 types of help. The first, I give what's mine. This is an ineffective type of help. And the second type of help, through remembering God, I give God to a person. If I pray through remembering God, I don't get tired myself. And it helps the person more. If I were to give myself to you now, I would die before I leave for Montreal. If I remember God and set myself up for God to help, then I can help many people. Because I believe that God will help if I remember Him. But if I myself want to help with all my heart, then I'm confusing myself with God. We don't have the resources to help even one person, and you cannot live someone else's life. For example, a person is very depressive by nature, perceives everything negatively, and receives illnesses because of this. And you're trying to shovel away these illnesses. But you cannot live someone's life for them. You can help to some degree. Your nature is to help people. But the most important relationship in one's life should be the relationship with God, not with people. One needs to switch to the higher truth. One should help people, but build a relationship with God. God wants you to help people, but you don't have a relationship with Him. You lack that relationship. You help people a lot, but you don't build a relationship with God, with the source of energy. You become depleted, you burn out. The source of energy, or the Lord, gives 3 types of energy to a person. He gives the energy of nature, which is needed for health and a happy life. This energy is obtained through healing practices. Yesterday I fasted for 36 hours on water and increased my contact with the sun's energy, and I have more optimism due to fasting, due to this healing practice. When I was doing this healing practice, I was a bit down yesterday, didn't seem optimistic, but I was simply doing a healing practice. It was difficult for me. I was performing a healing practice. When I run 17 kilometers tomorrow, I will replenish the air energy in my body. And then my willpower will work at a high level. And when I get into ice-cold water, I will replenish the water energy. The colder the water, the more water energy enters a person, the more forgiveness, the more patience in life, calmness, peace they get. When a person runs, there are no obstacles. For example, I should not have been allowed into this country. Because I'm a strange person. They tell me, give us the address of those you're going to visit. I say, I don't have an address right now. I show the departure date, the ticket. Where are you flying to? Show us the address of people there. Let's call and find out. They called and found out. They don't like it. They need me to defend myself, to have all reservations and documents ready. But for some reason, I'm not defending myself. Where do you work? I say, I have the information in my computer. I'm relaxed, not defending myself. But when they decided not to let me in, my willpower energy began to work because I do long runs, and I look at them, and in my gaze there is strength that makes them let me onto the plane. Because I run, and my will is not broken. Usually people say, "Ma'am, please let me in, I'm a good person." But I look at her and say, "Why aren't you letting me in? I have tickets, everything's fine." And they don't know what to do. Eventually they let me in. Everything was calm inside me. Their pulse was beating strongly. They were nervous, but I was calm. Because I run, I have enough willpower energy to come to Canada. But everything should have been done correctly. It's stupid to live like this. I just didn't know they would be so persistent. I should have figured out how to come to Canada for the first time. And now I know. But the essence is, if you have a reserve of this energy, it's called pre-action. With pre-action, you can solve a lot in life. If you, for example, do long runs, then you can get into a university, find a job. When I was defending my PhD dissertation, I prayed so strongly about this situation that I knew the first 3 questions. I memorized the first 3 questions by heart. God gave me knowledge of what the first 3 questions would be, and they were exactly as I knew. And when I answered them word for word, as written in the textbooks, they were simply stunned, a person answering academically, very calmly. And after the first 3 questions, everyone relaxed, understood that I would continue to answer the same way, but I didn't know the material well beyond that. You can pray about a situation, you can run through it, you can sit through it in ice cold water. When you have a deadly grudge against someone, you can stay in an ice cold water, think about this person, and forgiveness will come immediately. Forgiveness comes through water energy. You can practice fasting. Let's say you have disappointment in life, a very strong feeling that everything is bad in some aspect of life. And during fasting, this feeling is processed and you gain optimism in life. There are actions that help to live very happily. These actions are called healing practice. This happens through contact with the energy of nature. When you fast, the energy of the sun enters you. This is called solar nourishment. When you don't eat anything, you are nourished by the sun. A person is also nourished by the sun when they build relationships with people. As the song goes, "I'll go outside, there's no sun. It's like in Toronto. Beautiful girls have driven me crazy." Beautiful. Beauty means sunny. When the energy of the sun enters a girl, she begins to love people. Beautiful girl means she loves people. Happiness means joy. This is the male energy of the sun. When a man feels the sun, he rejoices. And when a woman feels the sun, she loves people. Men and women react differently to the sun, and these energies need to be absorbed into oneself. Due to confusing yourself with God, you have experienced a lot of tension in trying to help a person. This doesn't apply to your husband, but a proverb comes to my mind, playing the fool. Playing the fool means trying to lift up a drunk man. You lift him up and he falls again. Playing the fool. You lift him up, he falls. Because it's impossible to lift him up, he's drunk. Similarly, there are sick people whom you cannot lift up. Because a person's life is in their own hands. If a person has let go of their own life, no one can bring it back to them. A person must perform healing practices and maintain the right lifestyle in order to have the strength to live. But if a person has no strength to live, no one can force them to live. If an Ayurvedic doctor comes to a patient and asks, "Do you walk outside? Do you go for walks?" The patient says, "No." Why? Because it's difficult for me. Do you walk at all? No. Then there's no need to treat the person further because they don't want to live. Life means movement. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, move your hands like this. If you can't move your hands, then look for a place for a grave near Toronto. When small children are born, they first wave their arms and legs, then crawl, then walk, then run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, wave your arms and legs, but you need constant, prolonged, continuous movement. If a person doesn't move, it means they lose the ability to live.
Can staying in ice-cold water be replaced with a cold shower?
My dears, the ability to absorb water energy into yourself varies for everyone. When the body cannot absorb the water energy, this is called shivering. A person shivers. This means there's a very strong flow of energy that they cannot handle. People, for the most part, cannot absorb the energy of water. The more a person trains, the more water energy they can absorb. When I get into ice-cold water, I don't even get goosebumps. We got into the ice-cold water, stood with the guys there. I said, look, I have no goosebumps on my arms and legs. I'm not shaking. This means that the body copes with this water energy. A shower is not water energy, it's air energy. Water energy means lying in a bath or staying in a body of water. Energies are different everywhere. If water falls to the ground as snow, then it's no longer water energy, it's air energy. When you lie on the snow, the energy of air moves through you, not water energy. It's a different energy, although the substance is water, but the energy is already different. If a person puts their foot in ice-cold water and gets a cramp, it means that their body is not able to be in this water. But if they put their foot in, and it's normal, it's cold, but no cramps, it means you can get in and stay there. But if you get in the water and then get out right away, then your body experiences stress because the cleansing begins, but you get out of the water before time. You need to know how long to stay there, then you need to know what to do after that, because there is a subtle energy body. It rejuvenates from the energy of water. And there is a physical body. It gets cold from water. And therefore you need to restore the physical body afterwards. Get into a sauna or warm water to warm up the physical body. And the subtle energy body will fly after this. You will feel great lightness after such water. If it's not necessary for everyone to get in, then why should everyone come tomorrow? Because there is an invisible force that people don't know about. This invisible force greatly changes life. This invisible force is called inspiration. When a person sees someone who rejoices during a run, wishes happiness to everyone, they will engage in that too. In Moscow, there is a garden in the city center. We went for a run there. And we ran in a large group, about 30 people. And at that time, there was some event. A lot of people were running, probably thousands. They ran in groups. Each group had its own pace. When we ran in front of a group, we smiled at them and shouted, "Good morning, we wish happiness to you." And they responded in unison like the military and the army. Happiness, happiness. Why did they respond like that? Because they had a different attitude. They ran with the attitude of torturing themselves. Faster, faster, I can do it. When a person runs with an attitude of happiness, joy, loving nature, then they absorb the energy of nature into themselves. But when they run and kill themselves, they don't absorb anything. They torture themselves. Therefore, the mood can be different. If you see how people run and enjoy nature, you absorb this mood into yourself and your life then changes because you want to do the same. That's why it's very important to come. Maybe you won't run. Maybe you will just walk. But your different life will begin because people have two options. Either they walk or they get bedridden. Do you know what be bedridden means? This woman now knows what I'm talking about. So please come.
Is it possible to swim in the dirty river?
Do you mean that if you go in there, your skin will start peeling off?
Something like that, yes.
That can't be true. I don't believe it's that dirty. Are there fish swimming there? If fish exist there, then people can stay in this water. There is chemical purity and there is energetic purity. All rivers that flow through the earth have absolute energetic purity. Nature, the sun, air, earth give this purity. And there is chemical purity. We don't need that. We're not going to drink this water. We'll just get in it and connect with it energetically. All rivers on earth are absolutely energetically pure. Even if it's chemically dirty, you get in, your skin peels off, still you'll be healed energetically, but suffer chemically. If you get in there and your skin doesn't peel off, then everything is fine. Not everyone needs to swim in the river, you just need to look at it. Look at it so you can feel joy from the right things that you should do with your body to live long and happily.
How will you warm up after swimming in the river?
In a hot bath. Then I'll come home and lie down in the bath. If 20, 30, 40 minutes pass before you get into hot water, nothing bad happens to the body. Water is a very merciful environment. If you stay too long in the steam room, you can get sick, especially if you don't follow the correct technique for how to lie in the steam room. Before the steam room, you should first stay in water, then in the steam room, and then in water again. You shouldn't first go into the steam room and then into the water. This is very harmful to health. Water is the most merciful environment. First water, then steam room, then water again. If I stay in ice-cold water and then warm up in a bath, I will only benefit from it. There will be no overload. Overload occurs when you get out of ice-cold water too early. Let's say you have an energetic blockage, you start feeling bad, and you get out of the water when you reach that blockage. Half of your subtle energy body gets cleansed, and half doesn't. That means you'll get sick afterward. Therefore, it's very important to know exactly how long to stay in the water. If it's ice-cold water at 3 degrees, usually in 4.5 minutes, the entire subtle energy body gets cleansed. When we were in Iceland, the water was about 4 degrees and we went in and stayed in it. I saw a man staying in the water. He had already cleansed through 2 energy layers and came out when all 5 layers were cleansed. And then another one came in and also stayed in the water for all 5 energy layers. When people do this, they feel it's time to get out, because after cleansing 5 layers, the body relaxes, you feel everything has become good, and you get a hint that it's enough. Because if you stay longer, tension arises. There is a cycle of body cleansing. The maximum cleansing cycle by walking is about 4 hours. On my website, torsunov.ru, in the materials section, there is a calculation of time for healing practices. You'll find there 3 graphs. The first graph is distance, then time, and then the numbers. The number 5 needs to be even. Number 5 represents 5 layers of the human energy field. If you walk for 48 minutes, the first layer is cleansed. People who walk for 48 minutes only cleanse the first layer, while all the other layers remain uncleansed. For example, blood vessels are on the 3rd layer, spine on the 4th, and psyche on the 5th. If you don't walk for 4 hours, you do not heal the entire body. All other parts of the body suffer, even if you walk every day. If you don't cleanse the entire subtle energy body, you won't be healthy. But if you cleanse the entire subtle energy body, then you'll get healthy. Everything can be healed this way, including mental illnesses, schizophrenia. If you walk for 5 layers, do static exercises, schizophrenia passes in a year, because schizophrenia is just blockages, meaning lack of energy, on the 5th energy layer. When you cleanse it, energy flows there. The disease is cured.
And how do you treat insomnia?
Insomnia is on the 2nd layer. You have a lack of water energy on the 2nd layer. You need to stay in water for at least 2 layers and do static exercises. Stand by the wall for 26 minutes because 13 minutes is 1 layer and another 13 minutes is the 2nd. Stand for 26 minutes by the wall. If you stay in 22-degree water for 15 minutes, 2 layers get cleansed. Stay in water 2 times a week. Do static exercises 4 times a week. After 7 months, you will cleanse this blockage and the insomnia will end. Also, just in case, you can fast for 2 layers. That's 24 hours of fasting. Yesterday, I fasted for 3 energy layers. 2 more to go. The maximum water fasting is 60 hours. You can fast like this once a month.
60 hours?
You don't need 60 hours. For treating insomnia, 24 hours once a week is enough.
What about constant fatigue?
You have a very strong deficiency in many areas. You are severely lacking water energy. You lack air energy. Most of all, you lack water energy. You need to go to the swimming pool. Download the methodical guide, read it, and do as written there. It's the same for everyone. Download it and do as written. It's the same for everyone. If you want to know everything individually, there is a consultation. I test your blockages, and my assistant then tells you what to do, and I give him a recording, an audio recording of my instructions. This consultation costs around $350. I can't say exactly how much. It's in local currency.
Online?
I test you. I don't communicate with you, but my assistant first tells you what to do, gives you a methodical guide, and also guides you for a month. He gives you advice for a whole month, explaining why this happened. Individual guidance is not necessary. You can simply do everything as written in the methodical guide, and you will recover.
And can you meet with a person individually?
Such an opportunity also exists, but it's not necessary. I simply test people. I explain all the blockages, where they are, and how everything is arranged in the subtle energy body. I draw a map of the subtle energy body. My assistant explains what to do.
How exactly? By photograph?
The subtle energy body of a person can be seen through a photograph. Through a photograph and even by sound, you can reach any person. If you now pronounce the sound of any person, I will tell you what kind of person it is. I can see a person, even if they no longer live on earth, if they have passed away.
Can I ask about a person?
What is his name?
Sergey.
When did he pass away?
April 21, 2 years ago.
He didn't live quite right. He went a little below Earth, just a little bit. He didn't go to hell. This is the earthly level of planets. He has already been born there, already born and living. But you can pray for him, and by blessing him, you can change his life.
I prayed every day for the first year.
And that's why he didn't go to hell. He had serious problems. He lived incorrectly, but because of your prayer, he didn't go to hell.
Can I still help now too?
Yes, you can be a guardian angel for him. You can elevate him. He can start praying, work on himself, develop spiritually. We are always connected with the people we live with. We remain connected. So we continue our conversation about overcoming difficulties in relationships. Yesterday we talked about the most important thing. We discussed how, without respect, it is impossible to restore any relationship, because without respect there is no love. There is no love, no relationship, and also there is no love if you don't know how love works. If a person focuses on relationships not through love, but through their own knowledge, they constantly try to clarify things and assert their own truth. They place their truth higher than love. Then the family will definitely fall apart. Because when you build your relationship not on love, but on defending your truth, love fades away. A relationship based on love is one in which you know that you will never arrive at a single truth. Instead, you should simply try to bring happiness to the other person, and that's it. This is the highest goal of human life, to learn how to bring happiness to others without insisting on your own truth. This is called the highest manifestation of love, and we will talk more about it on Saturday. How to achieve the highest love in life. How to understand what the highest love is through a relationship with God. And if we speak about the highest love in everyday terms, you can hear it in a song. This is exactly what one should strive for in relationships with a loved one. If a person doesn't strive for this, there won't be any stable relationship, only destruction. When a person walks the path of love, they must first accept their cross, because a loved one is not a gift. They are the one who gives you your cross. A loved one is someone who will reveal your past to you, and you must love them because relationships happen in love. A relationship in love means that you follow the rules with that person, and you endure what feels like injustice. That's how fate delivers its blows. They bring injustice because that's how fate works through them. It's a great mystery. Not everyone will be able to solve this mystery. It's enough to hear from an elder that this is how it is. Once my wife got angry with me, and I looked into her eyes, and through her, I began to search for the source that was making her think badly of me. And I saw a divine woman above, in the sky, who was angry with me, an angel. I folded my hands and said, "Forgive me if I'm wrong," to the angel, to that woman. And she forgave me. Immediately my wife's look changed. She immediately stopped being angry. I realized then that there is a force that makes people mistreat us. People may be completely convinced that they are behaving correctly even if they are biased towards us. This is how higher powers work through our loved ones. Fate comes mainly through our loved ones. It can even come through people like customs officers or border guards who don't let you in. That too is fate. But there is fate and there is mercy. My fate was not to come to Canada, but your fate was to hear this lecture. That's why they weren't letting me in until the very end. That's how my fate worked. Then they let me in, because that's how your fate worked. And this kind of fate is called God's mercy. There are two kinds of fate. One is determined by our actions, and the other by mercy. When a person lives for the benefit of others, they come under the influence of mercy, not fate. That's why a person can always preserve their family. They can preserve their family if they are under the influence of mercy, if they forgive and accept. But even in forgiveness, there is a line that cannot be crossed. This boundary, the one we must not cross, is defined by the commandments that Moses brought. They tell us that at some point you can no longer forgive, because what the other person has done is no longer aligned with God's will. If they cheat, if they deliberately destroy your life, if they seek to harm you, to take away your property, if they beat you, commit violence, behave treacherously, if they wish to poison you or bring you down, then you must keep a distance that preserves your life. You can set conditions and wait for repentance, but if a person does not repent, then that's it. You can no longer build a relationship with them, because love ends. Love isn't ours to control. It doesn't belong to us. It's God's energy. There are rules to follow in relationships. If we don't follow them, love ends. The energy stops flowing. That's why yesterday we spoke at great length about a woman's respect for a man. We spoke about rules, about how love works in a mood of lightness. It's light energy. Am I giving this lecture seriously or not?
Lightly.
It seems serious, but in fact, it's not. Because if I spoke with real seriousness, your hair would stand on end. You would feel an overwhelming sense of injustice. Because to transmit the energy of knowledge, you need love. Love means a very deep acceptance of people. You must truly want others to feel good. Love, or kindness, is the channel through which you can pass knowledge into someone's heart. If you have kindness toward your children, they will become wise. You will be able to transmit knowledge to them. But if you don't have kindness, then knowledge will not enter their hearts. That's why even the transmission of knowledge requires a light atmosphere, never a heavy one, and especially in personal life. For example, what to do when a loved one gets angry. Today I felt that I needed to call my wife, but I didn't call. 5 minutes later, she called. We spoke. She looked at me and asked, "Are you thinking about me now or not?" "I don't feel you," she told me. I replied, "I will think about you now. To keep the atmosphere light, you must never try to prove that you're right." I was already thinking about her. But she didn't feel it. She started to get upset. I immediately said, "I'm thinking about you, only about you, no one else." She calmed down immediately. That's what it means to yield, but you can only yield when you love. Like a small child says, "Mom, I want a toy. I want a toy." She replies, "Yes, you'll have a toy soon." "We don't have a toy." "We'll buy one." "When?" "Tomorrow or in a week." Okay. Love always means yielding, giving in. We give in to children, we agree with them. We even can deceive them, just a little. Do you deceive your children or not?
Yes, for their own good.
That's love. A parent may deceive a child, but that kind of deception is not really a lie. Because people don't understand that love can only live in a light environment. It exists in an atmosphere of love, when you simply offer everything to the other. Sometimes jokingly, sometimes seriously. For example, I can give a sunrise to my wife as a gift. Take it and gift this sunrise. This is called generosity. Generosity is not when a person deserves it, it's when you give to them anyway. Because you want to make them happy. It doesn't matter if they make you happy or not. That's what generosity is, and it can only exist in a light and courageous space. A person cannot love if they are not brave. We are always afraid. We are afraid to give happiness to a loved one. Sometimes we don't even know. A woman needs a very close connection. When you speak to her, don't watch TV. Don't look at your phone. Look into her eyes very attentively. Then she will feel love. But if at that moment you are thinking about something else, she will not feel love. You must think only about her and give her your full attention. And she will receive this attention. She will enjoy it. My wife has been so starved for attention that now, when I speak to her, I should not talk about myself at all, only about her. If I mention anything about myself, she immediately tells me to talk about her. And I agree. You might say, "That's unfair, but you don't know what this person is going through right now." Less than 2 months ago, her beloved mother passed away. She feels drained. She needs love. She has lost both of her parents. So I try to do everything the way she likes. Of course, I could say, "Do you ever think about me? Do you talk about me at all or not?" This is called seeking the truth. But instead of seeking the truth, I do what she wants. And later, she is very grateful. She says, "Thank you for being there for me." I say, "Thank you for having me." Now let's move on to the next topic. The topic of meeting and parting. People are not automatically worthy of love. We can only truly love someone when we are filled by God. Because you can love a person only if you have the strength for it. Love is strength. Love is energy. God gives people something called infatuation. Infatuation is when energy acts regardless of us. Most people chase this infatuation. When there is no infatuation, they think they should move on and look for infatuation. People jump from one branch to another like monkeys searching for infatuation. But infatuation is just try and buy. It is just a demo version. God gives us this spark to help us start a relationship. Once you have felt love, you have to pay the price. To pay the price means no longer enjoying the relationship in the same way. During infatuation, the woman behaves correctly, the man behaves correctly. The man gives flowers and he looks directly into her eyes. When there is infatuation, the woman always agrees. Everyone behaves correctly, everything is sweet and smooth. But when the infatuation ends, hands go on hips, and both sides begin defending their rights. When infatuation ends, you need to continue to serve the person, do what pleases them. We all exploit the energy of love. We all are imperfect in love. There's always some injustice in love. Because we are selfish, we use each other. And yet, it's impossible to live without justice. Where does a small child seek justice? When children play in the sandbox with other children, where do they look for justice? From their mother. They run and cling to their mother. But what about you? Will you seek justice from your mother? And what if she is no longer here? From whom should you seek justice?
From God.
Yes, we need to understand that God is both Mother and Father. This is what we need to understand. Tomorrow we will practice this understanding. When you concentrate on God, you become nourished. You search, you find justice, and you become filled. You feel that someone finally understands you in this world. And how does this happen? Through sound, through prayer. When you are filled with God, you can give, even to those who are unjust to you, who behave unfairly. That's the secret. We all seek justice in return. But in this world, justice in return doesn't exist. In this world, you can only be filled with God and give. Be filled with God and give. Be filled with God and give. And eventually, when you get rid of your bad fate, gratitude will start coming from your loved one. The time for reciprocity has come, and mutual love begins. What is mutual love? It's when you serve a person without expecting anything in return, and they are grateful to you for that service. That's called mutual love. But bad fate prevents gratitude. A person will not be grateful. They will keep tormenting you as long as bad fate remains. To survive this, there exists meeting and parting. Meeting and parting is an integral part of love, even for God, when the Lord builds a loving relationship with his spouse. Wait, does God have a spouse? Do you have a spouse?
Yes.
Is God somehow worse or less than us? If God doesn't have a spouse, then it turns out he is worse than us. If God doesn't have a spouse, wouldn't that mean he failed to build a relationship? Even someone who is self-sufficient still wants relationships. Otherwise, they are worse off than those who have love. There are different types of relationships: friendly, hierarchical, and marital. All these are divine relationships. All relationships that we have were created by God, and God has them too. For example, he has friends. He has Mother Mary. He has his beloved, Mary Magdalene. He has friends. He has younger children too. God has all this, and he builds eternal relationships with his close ones in the spiritual world. Not here, but in the spiritual world, and they sometimes come with him to this world to help him. When in a spiritual world the Lord builds a relationship with his spouse, they meet and part. When something interferes with pure relationships, then parting takes place. We should behave the same way. Parting in love does not mean anger, hatred, enmity, or revenge. Parting in love means a kind separation. You stay near the person, but you don't speak intimately. You don't get intimate with them. You simply help them with kindness. They begin to sense that you don't like something, but if you are not hostile, they won't try to provoke a fight. Don't get provoked, don't take the bait, be kind, but don't get close, stand apart. You are standing up for your rights to love. In love, you need to stand up for your right to real love. That is called parting. This doesn't mean hostility or trying to prove someone wrong. Never use separation to show someone they are wrong. In love, there are no right or wrong people. In love, there is only the willingness or unwillingness to love. When someone becomes proud, they no longer want to love. They only want to be loved. In such moments, it is wise to create a little distance. Then, they may begin to desire the relationship again, and they will try to give what you need in the relationship. You can explain gently if they ask, "Why aren't we close anymore?" You should reply kindly, "I need this and that in our relationship." Then they will try to respond to that. Is that clear, my dear friends? So separation is not meant to take revenge. No, not at all. It's meant to help the other person long for a relationship. Once they do, you can teach them. In love, there is always the opportunity to teach. You can tell them what you truly need in a relationship. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.